All right. Well, the first video on the list today is titled "Why Star Citizen is Boring." This is from Discipline, and the first line of the description is "Use my referral code star dash whatever." So I think this is probably one of those bait videos. We're gonna see how this one goes, but my assumption is it's bait. Classic bait. I think Star Citizen's boring, by the way, in its current state. Or maybe it could be so much better.
Star Citizen is boring. This is a very polarizing statement, I understand. I know there are some die-hard fans that absolutely disagree with me, and I know that there are skeptics that want nothing more than for people to criticize and say how Star Citizen, for lack of better words, sucks. But this is...
No. I want to know what you find boring versus what I think is boring and what I think can be improved in the game. It's really exciting, actually, to hear someone that goes, maybe shares the same opinion as you, like the high level, like Star Citizen is boring, but why? I'm curious what he's going to say. I'm actually really excited to listen to this video today because of that.
Just my perspective. Star Citizen is a lot of fun for new players. I remember the first time I got into my ship, the first time I walked around Microtech, there is a sense and feeling of awe as you wander around the persistent universe for the first time. But as time goes on and you see more and more, it begins to feel mundane in a lot of ways. And although you can try out the different gameplay loops like mining, bounties, and cargo, there is a lack of things that your money can go towards. All of the money that you make in game tends to go towards ships. Sure, you can buy different outfits.
And I think for a lot of people, it doesn't. I'm making a video that should be coming out this weekend that is very much around this subject of, like, what is the core gameplay loop in Star Citizen? What is it? I argued that there wasn't one. And it's kind of hard when your core gameplay loop was upgrading ships and then you sold all the ships. So people are passing what a huge part of your core gameplay loop would have been if Star Citizen was funded normally.
Or different weapons for your ship and try and make it the meta ship for what the patch is. But there really is no end game for players that have played the game.
Guys, I'll pause as long as I want. I'm going to watch the video. This video's been out for days. You could have watched it yourself. All right?
Substantially. And I know I've made other videos talking about how the experience is the game with Star Citizen. It's not about the gameplay loops. It's about interacting with other people. And so I thought I'd come on and play devil's advocate and argue the other side. And I found this argument when I was playing as a solo player. And I realized that when you're not sharing experiences and you don't have other people on your ship with you, the
game's
feels
boring.
Pointless. So now that I've stated my opinion about this, let me talk about the potential fix that I think would make Star Citizen far more enjoyable for experienced players that want a more viable endgame, and that is base building. Now,
what? Here's the one thing that Star Citizen fans tend to do. I feel, myself included, I'm a victim of this more often than I should be, is you start telling them what they need to prioritize, what they need to do. What you need to tell them is that it's boring and why. And I think you started off really good, but I don't think just base building will do anything, because what's the purpose behind it. Why do I have a base? What do I do there? What does my base do? Do other people want to take it? Why? There's all these other things that need to happen before base building has the excitement that it could have.
I'm not saying super complex
They have not
modular
updated
base
yet, Dicey.
building, but I'm saying something simple like being able to put a landing pad down on a planet, maybe being able to have an outpost there as well. And perhaps even in this outpost, you could sell materials just like how the current cargo system works. So say, for example, you go and mine a very specific material. You could then offer that material at your outpost at your base. And so with each patch, maybe you could specialize in a different material. Essentially what this feature would do is it would encourage a different type of interaction in the game. Currently, there is cooperation between friends or the adversarial system of bounty hunter and pirate. And there is missing in this paradigm something in the middle. Something where instead of just cooperating with people from the get-go that maybe I know ahead of time, and instead of just cooperating with people because it's fun and nice, and
now you're talking, dude. Now you're talking. Base building doesn't have to be a thing, but you can say what you feel is lacking about the game. That's good feedback. What's lacking with the game is players who don't know each other interacting with each other for good, real reasons. Outside of, you want to see my ship? You want to see my Carrack?
Instead of just fighting with people because I want to complete a bounty task, maybe instead we have something where each person has a mutual interest and there is a bargain and a trade. As the game is now, there is either cooperation for the sake of goodness or fun and experience, and adversarialness for the sake of
Does he know he's going to die?
And we all know the all too familiar feeling of the
maybe?
bounty that you're hunting down, disappearing or disconnecting from the game because they don't want to die. We need base building because it would add an element of fear and scarcity to the game. Star Citizen lacks what Tarkov, what Eve, and what other types of games in its genre has. And that
I don't think base building has to be the solution. But yeah, it lacks literally everything.
This
outside of beautiful locations to play in.
Losing something. And I know that there are future systems that are going to reiterate on this concept and really make the game feel hardcore, but something like a base being able to be raided, a base being able to be robbed would make the game feel so much more enticing to log back into as an experienced player.
Sure, but first you have to make the things worth robbing, right? Like piracy is the thing in Star Citizen right now, but what do you do with the money? What do you do with the commodities that you're stealing? You do nothing with them. You make money to buy ships that you already probably have and are going to get wiped eventually, right? Like the ship progression thing isn't enough. It's clearly not enough for this person either. It's not enough for me. I don't want to say it's not enough. It's not enough for me. It's clearly not enough for him. And him and I are on a very similar wavelength of you need the fear of losing something, but in order to have the fear of losing something, that thing has to be worth having. It has to be a better gun, a better armor. Crafting, I think, is the direction that they're going in, and I think that's what he means by base building. I'm going to take base building and extend it to just like crafting is something that gives value to all the things that we do in the game. And I think that's what's missing is when you start giving value to the things that are in the game, then miners start interacting with crafters and crafters start interacting with salvagers. And yeah, I think that's when things get kind of cool. I think with bases, I'm going to have to agree with Zeus in the chat here that with bases, you still just get a very similar gameplay loop to what you have now. Is it's either Like you're doing missions or you're fighting each other. So you're just fighting over bases instead of, pointless bases too. And then everyone gets mad at each other because there's no point in raiding a base because none of the stuff matters. And then you just destroyed my base, my pretty base, and my cool location. I'm so mad, right? And that's really all there is. You got to have the usefulness of all the items in the world in order for you to feel loss.
Or as a player that has everything that they would like. What Star Citizen needs is more creative tools for people to enjoy the sandbox. Imagine being given the most beautiful basketball course, but with no ball to play on the course with. That's what Star Citizen has started to feel like for me. And the best solution, in my opinion, right now is to add very, very simple features with very, very efficacious effects. And base building is one of those features. Thank you so much for watching this video.
I just don't think base building is a simple feature. I think like a basic economy is. Like rotating what's valuable sometimes, even as simple as that is a big thing.
If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Well, that was good. I enjoyed watching that. It's fun to see other people's points of views, especially when they're similar to yours, but still different, right? So that was kind of cool. Thank you, Discipline, for that. New person we'd never watched before on the channel, so let me link that to you guys. It's not like you guys are super familiar with them yet, most likely. So cool. Let's get him to 1,000 subs. He's only 320 away, not too far.